Let's just make sure this is all streaming. I think it's almost there. Okay, let's see. Check my Facebook page too. Yeah, I think it's working. Hold on.
Amazing.
Yes, it's working. Okay, perfect.
Okay.
So I'm so excited to talk with Libba today. And Libba, thank you for taking the time out of your day to do this. I felt like it was important to really interview and talk to people that have been to the Psychic Medium Retreat. So I just want to quickly introduce Libba to everyone. Libba Philips Mullins, and Libba has been a student of mine in the past with mediumship and has attended the retreat. And at the end, I'm going to give your information for your website too. But Libba, thank you so much for being here today.
You're so welcome.
And one of the things that I want to ask is some people that are wondering, what is the Psychic Medium Retreat like? How can you sum it up in one word? What would you say?
Well, it'd have to be 2 words with a hyphen in the middle. So life-changing.
Okay.
Life-changing.
Okay. I love that. I love that. So I have to ask, because this is the common question that comes up from everyone is, should I wait to do it? And what if I have all these things in my mind that's kind of stopping me from doing it now? So what I've been wanting to ask my previous retreat attendees is, what kind of resistance came up either in your internal resistance or from the outside that maybe I shouldn't do this retreat right now?
Yeah. Well, I have got kind of a laundry list, my own mind. So we could say the ego gave me resistance. You know, who do you think you are to go? You know, there'd be people there that maybe are more experienced than you. You know, and the other thing was resistance from people around me, you know, because it was like Psychic Medium Retreat, you know, again, who do you think you are? But again, these were voices, you know, from other people. And wow, you know, are you sure you want to spend that right now? You know, what are you going to get out of it? You know, and it was just a lot of questions that were coming up in me. Like, first of all, am I good enough to go? You know, am I, is this something that if I just wait and I could do it later, you know, but there was this feeling inside of me that really was stronger than the ego that said, if I don't go now, I won't ever step into the greatest version of me. Like, it makes me want to cry when I tell you that, because I'm 54 years old. So just had a birthday. And, you know, we always say, you can't go back, don't have regrets. But my abilities have always been a part of me.
Yeah.
But really owning them and being able to have safe passage to what I envisioned for myself next, that was the crossroads. And that's when the retreat was in my awareness. I was taking a class with you, and then the opportunity came up and I went, and I just felt that catch in my heart.
Yes, you just had the feeling.
I just had the feeling, and I couldn't rationalize it. You know, I couldn't go, okay, okay, this is going to happen and that's going to make it work. But, everything did come together for me to go.
Yeah.
And once I made the decision and I committed and I said, I'm going.
That is such a key point. I have goosebumps when you're speaking and saying that. That's what I've heard from other students. They're like, they don't, like, one girl came from the UK in the past and she's like, I just decided that I was going to do it and I was going to make it happen. And she's like, I didn't worry about the details in that moment. I just committed to signing up and I figured out the details later.
Yep.
Because it was just this overwhelming feeling.
It was an overwhelming feeling. And I knew, like I was saying a minute ago, I knew that I couldn't really rationalize it to everyone else around me. But I knew that for my husband and my daughter, that they deserved the best version of me. And I knew that if I was going to start making steps towards that person, it meant I had to accept myself. And for me, the retreat was my safe passage. I was like, well, I've got to go do this so that I'll know one way or the other, which way am I supposed to go forward? Am I going to keep hiding my gifts, or am I going to go and say, oh, hi, to myself?
Exactly. No,
There
that's
you
so true.
are.
Right. And I think that's important too, because you mentioned your daughter and your husband. And I think that's one of the things that people think about, like, should I be leaving my family for that
Mhm,
time frame?
mhm,
But did
mhm,
you find, so kind of going into that step of getting to the retreat, like when you walked in,
mhm.
did you, first of all, I don't remember, did you know anyone there? Because normally people don't know each other. They might have met one person beforehand online.
So there were a couple of people that had been in our class together that were there.
Okay.
Thinking
That's,
back, but only a couple.
yeah.
And for me, it was really, I was really nervous. Like I kind of felt
Yeah.
like the first day of school,
Yeah.
you're, I drove, because
Yeah.
I live in Florida, but I drove. But it was nerve-wracking a little bit for me, to walk in.
Yeah.
But the minute that I did, I'll try to explain it if I can. Walking into this beautiful, beautiful home, the beach and the water was in the background. I could see that. And then I could feel the sense of welcoming,
Yeah.
like I knew I was like, I'm where I'm supposed to be, you
Yes.
know? And there was
Yeah.
only, like I said, one or two people that said, hey, hey, Libba, but everybody else I didn't know, and
Mhm.
immediately I'm like, okay, I'm here, I'm committed, I could turn around and walk back
Yeah.
out,
Right.
but I just felt enveloped in that sense of security,
Mhm.
and it was so beautiful. And of course, whatever was being made in the kitchen,
Oh yeah.
everything was drawing me in, and I said, this is where I'm supposed to be.
Exactly. Oh my gosh, I love it. It actually, you just brought me back to the moment of you walking in too. I could feel the energy of it
Mhm.
too. And of course, Natalia, the chef, who's one of my friends, who's absolutely amazing. She makes everything look so beautiful.
Yes.
What was your favorite part? Once you were there and, you got in that first moment throughout the weekend, what were some of your favorite pieces to the retreat that stick out to you?
Gosh, there are many, but a couple that really stand out it was an immediate sense of kinship.
Yeah.
It was like there wasn't really a sense of people being on different levels, and maybe some people were farther along in their business, and other people that were actually doing their spiritual work. It was more a kinship of, this is where I'm meant to be. And wow, some people that I met there, I felt like I had always known them.
Yeah.
you know it was really a lot of divine appointments, you could say. And I think that some of the other moments that really stand out in my mind are, just to talk about resistance for a minute, is I was a little bit nervous about, I knew that we would be paired up with other people, and that we would be, really exploring our gifts, and you would be leading us through some real growth exercises. And while I felt resistant to that internally, that ended up me to see what I was capable of.
Yes. Yeah, being put on the spot to do the
Yeah.
exercise.
And I was like, oh my God, I just did that. Oh my
Yes.
gosh, I just brought this person through. And that I could be the vessel. I already knew that I could be that vessel, but to have that validation and also share that healing with someone else, that was powerful.
Yes. I
Yeah.
love those moments of those
Yeah.
exercises, and like being in person. I love online. Like I'm a big
Hmm.
person when it comes to being online. You could
Hmm.
feel energy through the computer. I'm sure everyone
Yeah.
watching this interview can
Yes.
feel your
Yes.
energy. But when you're in person with people, it's kind of weird because people walk in, and sometimes when they walk in, they're like, you're short in person.
Yeah. Yeah.
To me, when
Yeah.
they walk into the retreat, and I'm like, oh my God, I can actually touch you. Like I
Yeah.
can like give you a hug,
Yes.
and you're in the same space. That's really
Yes.
beautiful. And when you
Yes.
said kinship, that's a common theme. It almost feels like people have been connected forever in this space.
Yes. Yeah. And I would also say that, doing those kinds of exercises, they're meant to stretch you and meant to show you what you're capable of, but also being in an environment, to be out of your comfort zone, but to be
Yeah.
in such a comfortable and safe and beautiful environment with like-minded people. You're guiding everyone. And then we had, Tony's coaching and other healers there. It was just, like I said before, it felt like safe passage to me.
Yeah.
Like,
I
okay,
love
I can do it. And it's okay if it's not perfect or, I get something wrong. Nobody's judging me. This
exactly.
is about me, not me comparing myself against anyone else.
Yes. Yeah. You should see my goosebumps right now. So, because that's exactly what I want everyone to feel when they're in the retreat. So I want to
Yeah.
actually, from what you just shared, I want to ask you the question is, how are you normally? Like, do you feel comfortable thinking of yourself going to a retreat, or are you someone that needs that alone time too? Because I kind of,
Oh,
I'm curious to know what you think about that, because there are certain schedules, you know how I am about the
yes.
schedules and how
Yes.
making sure that you have time to like be on
Yes.
your own and that sort of thing. So
Yeah. I did have the time by myself, that I could sort of retreat alone. I could take a
yes,
nap. I could take a walk on the beach. I could wake up a little bit earlier if I wanted to and just enjoy the settings. I never felt pressured to
yes,
do anything. The pressure that I felt was within my own self,
yeah,
if that
yes,
makes sense. And I loved the time that we had, where it was, whether we were going to meet for lunch or we were going to meet for dinner. But if we wanted to, like, go play in the ocean or be by the pool, we could, and
yes.
that was great. I loved the way that it was all laid out.
Okay, good. Because I know it, and it's funny because that's a very common thing that like is
Mhm.
me for me. If I was attending a retreat, I would want like I'd want to be in a group, but at the same time, I want to have my time to do
Yes,
something like writing or reflecting on what is happening.
yes.
Um, so if you could describe when you left the retreat house, like at the very end,
Mhm.
what did you feel in your soul when you were either in the process of like exiting with your suitcase and knowing that you had
Mm.
to leave and go back into the world? Like what emotions came up? What changed in
Oh
you?
gosh. Well, I was sad to leave because it was so beautiful and so much fun. But I left with the sense really of reverence for what had just happened. I was
Yeah.
like, wow, I made it to the other side. And I'm so excited about what's next. Even though I didn't know all the steps and all the plans and all the things that would take place, I knew I had reclaimed myself, and that when I got home, the energy had already started to shift that would allow me to start to do the work that I do today.
I love it.
And that's what I needed. It was like a gentle push, it was
Yeah.
like a push, and it was also a surrounding, a safety, that allowed me to validate and also to grow. And my only regret is that I couldn't have had more days.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I
Yeah.
love that. I love that. It makes me happy. And
Yeah.
then last question I have for you about the retreat is what would you tell someone that was on the borderline trying to decide, should I hold off till next year or should I do this or should I
Mm.
not? Is there anything that you, if you were speaking to them right now, what would you say
Well,
to them?
yeah, definitely. I have two things I would say. One is I would say, listen to your heart. Listen to
Yes.
your heart. The mind will always come up with every excuse and every reason. Believe me, in every given day, especially as a mom, in every
Mhm.
given day, there's always going to be things pulling on you.
Yeah.
But there are moments that are going to come in your life that are like, it's like a crossing, it's like you're at the crossroads. And it's important to reclaim for yourself what is meant for you. And, through my own divine guidance that I've been receiving, especially lately, the world is kind of in an interesting time right now in history.
Right.
And what I hear from God is we need more people who are saying yes to themselves, who are saying yes to whether they aren't exactly sure how they might use their gifts, or they already know that they're a psychic medium. We need healers, we need psychics and mediums and light workers to step forward and just say yes to themselves, however that's going to transpire in the world. Because if we have more of that,
Yeah.
then we're going to be able to give more to the world. And for me personally, I was able to, and still reflect on this today, I'm able to be more of myself as a mom and as a wife and as a teacher, and an intuitive in the world, helping other people navigate their way forward.
So beautiful, so beautiful. I don't know if my goosebumps went away since this conversation because they keep coming back. Thank you, Libba, for
You're welcome.
sharing your energy here
You're
and
so
like just
welcome.
sharing your own viewpoints. Because I can share endlessly about the
Sure.
retreat, but I feel like it's with the retreat attendees that can really share their experience, and
Yeah,
you know, it could change someone's life, you know, if it's meant in their heart to sign up,
that's
you know, if
right.
they feel pulled, there's a reason.
That's right.
So if you can you share a little bit about what's going on in your worlds, like the last bit of information, like your website and what is coming up for you? I know you'll
Oh,
be on
sure.
our podcast, so that will be
Sure.
something later down, you know, the next couple months. We're going to connect even deeper with this conversation.
Oh, thank you. I'd be glad to. So for anyone out there that wants to connect with me, I'd love to invite you to my website. That's www.theintuitivenavigator.com. And what I do is I help people to learn to connect to their own divine guidance so that you can co-create the life you envision with the help of the heavens. I'm also a psychic kids mentor and manifestation coach. One of the things that's going to be coming up for me a little bit later this spring is I'll be launching my first online course. So I'm very excited about that. And I would love to share those details. You can find me on Facebook. Again, it's Libba at the Intuitive Navigator, and also on Instagram, Libba the Intuitive Navigator.
Awesome. Oh my gosh, Libba, thank you so much. And I
You're so
can't wait to
welcome.
talk with you soon.
And you. Have a
Thank
good one.
you.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye, Libba. So 1 second. Just gonna